We now look towards the college football playoff semifinals, which start on Thursday. Thursday night, Friday night are your games this week, and both of these will be on ESPN as the playoffs are. But we start Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern time. It is the Orange Bowl. It is the number 7 seed Notre Dame. They are 13-1 on the season, a 2.5-point favorite against number 6 seed Penn State. They are 13-2 on the year. Your over/under on this one is 45. EJ, we'll start with you.
Let me just start here. Like all 4 of these schools, I can't stand, and so I'm trying to find things. What can I root for? Like for Notre Dame, obviously I root for you, not Matt, not Sean. For you, maybe Jordan Bruscarini of the Risky Podcast. We'll see. Shout out to Jordan, of course. I don't know. All these schools have something I probably should root for. I don't know. To me, it's about trust for Penn State. Can Penn State continue to, do something I have not seen them do in decades? What they've been doing this year.
Who do you trust?
They made it this far now. They've done the Final Four now, so they made it this far. But I got to tell you, and look, I know they beat Georgia with an underman, the quarterback. But that was still impressive nonetheless, the way they beat Georgia last week. And granted, that game was probably a little closer than the score indicated, but still impressive. I'm going to take Notre Dame this one. I think Notre Dame, at the end of the day, I trust good defenses late in the year, and that is the identity of the Irish. So I want to take Notre Dame this game, but I'm going to take a very heavy under. I think their defense will stifle Penn State ultimately and keep this game to a.
I'll get to my prediction in a second, but if Notre Dame is going to win, similar to the Georgia game, I think the under is the play. I'll say this to anybody, and this is my homer moment of the night. But what I'll say about the game against Georgia, for anybody that's pointing to, Georgia didn't have their quarterback, just go Google the number of Notre Dame players who have been lost to season-ending injuries this year.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it. You can do that, and then tweet at me if you want to.
Pause the episode while you do it.
I'll do that. You can tweet at me if you want to. But yeah, I don't want to hear about injuries from Georgia fans. Mikey B, who you got?
Here's the thing. I sit here and I hear all the talk about who do you trust, hubba, and Penn State and James Franklin. And
Who do you trust?
here's the deal. That team beat an undermanned and undersized American team in SMU in the first round. Then their defense locked in against the guy who still ran for 100 yards that nobody wants to have a conversation about, only the second running back against them all year to run for 100 yards in Ashton Genty. Problem is it took him 30 carries, so it makes it look more bleak. But here's the deal. What are they going to face that they haven't faced so far in the playoffs? A quarterback who has no problem tucking the football and running it, because Maddox Madsen ain't that guy. In that game, he went 23 of 35, still eclipsed 300 passing yards with a touchdown and 3 interceptions. What does Riley Leonard not do? Turn the ball over. What does Riley Leonard not do? Take sacks, something that Maddox Madsen did a lot in that game if you watched it. That being said, here's the deal. I don't trust James Franklin. I think it was just a matter of when, not if, they ran into a team that was going to be able to figure them out. And guess what? Give me the better coach. Give me Marcus Freeman. Give me the Fighting Irish, because here's the deal. That guy on Thursday afternoon, with a minute and a half left, knew they had to get a first down before he smiled. That guy is locked the fuck in. Irish by a bunch. Give me the over.
Yeah, look, we talked about Penn State's road to get here in the playoff. We talked about the road to get to the playoff. We know they've lost to Ohio State and to Oregon. They've lost to really good football teams. They put up a ton of points against Oregon. Probably the best defense they played against was Ohio State, and they didn't have as good of luck on the offensive side of the ball. I'm hoping for that on Thursday. This is a weird spot for me to be in because even in like the 2-3 days after the Georgia game, it was like, hold on, time out. Did that really just that was a thing that just happened on Thursday afternoon? Because Notre Dame doesn't win those games in my lifetime. That's literally their biggest win since I was 9 years old. Nope, nay, 8 years old. Because it was January of '94. So it was weird. So I'm already feel like I'm gonna vomit. And we're still 2 days away from game time, so that's a good sign. Here's the thing. I leading up to the Georgia game, didn't talk a lot of shit on Georgia because I've had to eat my words a lot when it comes to Notre Dame football in my lifetime. So I'm not really going to do that with Penn State here. I think if Notre Dame plays Notre Dame football in this season, I think Notre Dame is the better team, and I think that they will have the opportunity to show that. But Penn State does have guys that can make plays. Tyler Warren is a hell of a tight end. They have a great front seven on defense. They always do. So it's going to be a trench game. I've watched Notre Dame win trench games all season, starting at Texas A&M, at other times throughout this year against Georgia. Like watching Notre Dame's offensive line push the Georgia defensive line around was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in sports in my lifetime. So I'm hoping that advantage comes into play again. I will take Notre Dame. I will take Notre Dame to cover the 2.5. But I think it is going to be an under. I think we're going to see a similar game to what they did against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. And I have Notre Dame moving on. Devin has Notre Dame and the over. Mike, do you have any of the picks from the other guys?
I have the other three guys. All three of them took Notre Dame. None of them picked the over under.
All right, very good. Very good. Now we move to the Cotton Bowl. This one Friday at 7:30 Eastern time. It's the number 18 Ohio State Buckeyes. They are 12-2. They are a 6-point, should we call it road favorite because the game's in Texas? We'll call it a 6-point favorite at playing against number 5 Texas, who is 13-2 on the year. Your over-under on this one is 53. EJ.
I don't know what's going on to Iowa State since the Michigan loss back in November, because this is a completely different team since then.
Bad defenses?
I whatever it is,
this
man.
Guy gets it.
I'm just saying they look like a completely different team. Like we will literally walk on the corpse of Ryan Day getting fired. Literally,
we're just rooting for that.
And then all of a sudden they're like the best team in college football. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. And to me, I don't give a shit. It's a game being played in Texas. I don't give a damn. I already said it earlier in the podcast. Texas overrated as hell. Ohio State, the way they look right now, they look like the best team of the 4 right now on paper. Now, obviously, we got to play the game, see how it plays out. But to me, unlike the first game we just covered right now, which will be in my opinion competitive, this won't. Ohio State blows the doors off of Texas this one. Give me Ohio State to win this game and cover the spread, and give me the under.
Oh, the under.
Yeah.
Okay. Mikey B.
As much crap as we've given Stark about being an offensive mind in the first half, here's the thing. I think when you go back and you watch the film of the Ohio State-Oregon game, he's going to learn one thing that for some reason Dan Lanning wasn't able to comprehend. And for as good of a coach as Dan Lanning is, I don't get it. Which was as good as Ohio State was the first 3 drives of that football game, on 4th and 3 or closer, why are we punting them the football back? We can't stop them if they're at their own 20 or if they're at our 20. We've got to find a way to put points on the board.
Yeah.
Texas has found a way to put points on the board in the first half of football games. I will give them all the double their due there. That being said, here's the deal. Playing 2 really bad defenses will make your offense look like $1,000. Who you want to pick, Jackson? Who you got? All right, he ran away. That being said, here's the deal. I'm going to take the Texas Longhorns plus the points. I think this game will stay close because I think the key here is going to be Texas is going to find a way to use Arch Manning more in this football game. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be there to scramble. He's going to be there to keep people at bay and try to keep the defense from being able to just basically blanket cover everyone. I think there's a reason why he hasn't been used the first 2 games of the playoffs, and I think it's because they don't want to play their hand, because I think they understand they're going to need him to get past Ohio State and or whomever they play if they get it to the college football title game. So that being said, I'll take Texas plus the points. I am going to take the over because it's death taxes in the over. And let's be real, as much as Ohio State looked good, they still gave up 21 points plus to Oregon, and I think they gave up at least 14 to Tennessee.
17 to Tennessee. It was a 42-17 final.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the Rose Bowl ended up being 41-21.
Yeah. This is the over. I think the over clears. The over might hit by half. So yeah. I'll take Texas plus the points. I do think Ohio State wins the football game though.
I hope. Like I hate uncompetitive games at this point. Staring plainly at Georgia TCU in the Natty a couple of years ago. But I don't. I do have a hard time seeing where Texas is really going to make this competitive. Now, is it going to be a 20-point differential? That I don't know. I see it more in like the 10 to 14 range. I think Ohio State wins this pretty darn easily because I think they're going to do the thing that they did against Tennessee. I think they're going to do the thing they did against Oregon in the early portion. They're going to get up. They're going to get up big. And I think that's where you're going to see Sark make a change, put in Arch Manning, and that may slow the bleeding down a little, but I don't think you're going to really be able to stop it. So I'm going to take Ohio State and the over in this one. I think it's a pretty easy win. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, look, I will not deny that Ohio State visually in the college football playoff looks like the best team. Sure, I'll agree with that statement. But I think that's one of the details that's getting lost is you have a Tennessee team who is not the greatest defensively. And they came into a cold environment. They tried to play tough guy. They got punched in the mouth, and they just couldn't get back up. And then Oregon, who gave up, 40 points to Penn State in the Big Ten title game. So it shouldn't be a shock that they gave up 40 points to Ohio State, who,
better offense.
Right, no matter how much we've talked about how, over the year, how good is the Big Ten? The Big Ten's really top heavy. Ohio State may not be as good as they've been in previous years. The thing that we've always still agreed on is they're a better team than Penn State. So if Penn State can put up 40 on Oregon, why couldn't Ohio State?
Yeah, why couldn't they put up 60?
Right. So, let's not act surprised when the thing we know is going to happen happens. And it may happen again on Friday. Yeah. It may happen again. But I know that there is a team who's already played Ohio State, and there's a team who hasn't played Ohio State this year, but they've played them the previous 2. And both of those teams are going to be studying the game film from November 30th in Columbus if they advance the national championship. That's what I know, because that's how you stop the Ohio State Buckeyes. And there's probably just one team, in my opinion, that has the ability to do that, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So Buckeyes plus and the over. Devin is rooting for Texas. Here's the thing. I'm rooting for Texas. I'm rooting for Texas and for multiple reasons. 1, hate Ohio State. 2, if Notre Dame advances, would rather play them. 3, fuck Ryan Day, that painted hair bitch. But
too mean.
No, it's not.
That's facts. Facts don't care about feelings. We've talked about this.
See the scene, the saying. I say.
So that is where we leave the world.
Sean,
the other guy.
Sean takes Texas plus the points. Matt and Kyle both take the Ohio State University.
Tell Sean he's wrong. Jim, to get a chance.
Oh, I mean,
he'll listen to the show.
Find out.